so fetch.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Kaiya, and today we are going to be doing a 3-song discography dive into the band Testament. Super excited. Y'all have been requesting this band for a long time, okay? Thrash metal band from Berkeley, California, formed in '83. I'm really excited. I'm sucking on a lozenge right now. I caught something funky. Keeping it real. I caught something funky a couple days ago, and I had to take like 2 days of rest, and for me to like sit down and do nothing, like lay down and do nothing and not edit or film or do anything was so much. It was so hard for me to do, but I'm sitting here filming this video because I figured, you know, I got a gig in a few hours. It's outside. I'm still not 100% better. Might as well listen to some Testament. So I'm sorry, I'm sucking on a lozenge. I got my tea. Anyway, I'm ready for Testament. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please feel free to do so. I post weekly videos documenting my journey discovering metal for the first time. So if that sounds interesting to you, please join our community. I also have a Discord. It is called The Mosh Pit. There's an invite link in the description, as well as my P.O. Box if you feel inclined to send something to be featured in our monthly metal unboxing videos. This month, in celebration of Thrash Giving, I am hosting a fundraiser for a local charity here in Asheville called Brother Wolf Animal Rescue. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a no-kill animal shelter that works to save the lives of as many animals as possible in the western North Carolina region. Each year, Brother Wolf saves around 9,000 animals thanks to kind community-based donations, as they receive no government funding. To Brother Wolf, being a no-kill animal shelter means to do the absolute best to ensure a live outcome. They consider the animal's quality of life, community safety, and whether it's realistic to manage aggressive or difficult behaviors or health conditions in a home without risk to people or other animals. North Carolina is one of the worst states in the country for the euthanization of sheltered animals, according to a national study. You can donate now to help Brother Wolf Animal Shelter in their mission to save as many animals as possible and help someone in the North Carolina region find their new best furry friend. So, without further ado, let's go into Testament. First song we're going to be listening to is called Over the Wall from their 1987 debut album, The Legacy. First impressions, I'm already digging it. 80s thrash metal is like pinched fingers, okay? So y'all have told me that Testament is like one of the big 4, technically the big 8, because I know Creator, Anthrax, and there's like other ones in there too that aren't just like Metallica, Slayer. You know, there's others, but my brain, okay, my brain. Y'all have said that Testament is within that category of like one of the big thrash metal bands, and I definitely hear it. Iron Maiden, I'm definitely getting that. Megadeth, that was another one too. I'm getting both of those in here. More Megadeth, definitely, with this. I really like his vocals. It's definitely very close to Megadeth. So I haven't heard anything so far. We're only a minute and a half in. That's different than Megadeth yet. Except his vocals, I feel like it, so far it punches a little bit harder. But again, we're still like super new. Really like his highs. It's very edgy. I like it. Solo section, sorry, I'm pausing it, because that solo section, okay, first of all, that sounded like a really hard solo, I don't know, but also with like the drums layered over it, it wasn't quite double bass, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was, but it didn't sound like the traditional double bass that I guess I'm used to. Point is that there was a lot going on with the drums in a delicious way, almost to like a disorienting way, to where as he's like soloing, it makes me think like it shouldn't fit, it shouldn't match, like it's not really on tempo, but it's working. It was delicious. Also, like the halftime sort of like build up before the solo was money. I feel like Testament, at least with this music video, I'm going to compare them a little bit more to Megadeth, because that's kind of the sound that I'm getting. Where I feel like, I don't know if this is going to make sense to y'all, but where I feel like Megadeth was a little bit more colorful, if that makes sense, with their sound. They had a lot of technical stuff. I feel like Testament so far doesn't sound as technical, but there's a little bit more like dark tones to it with a little bit more groove pockets, you know, so that I feel like aesthetic wise they're a little bit more Slayer, especially with this music video. They're a lot more like all black, the headbanging thrash, you know, kind of like what Slayer has aesthetically, whereas like for the music videos at least that were featured in that Megadeth video I did were a little bit more like hair metal 80s, but it was obviously thrash. If any of that makes sense, that's kind of what I'm getting. So it's not my era at all, okay? I'm trying my best, all right? Be gentle. Nice. Ends with the scream and the chant. Loved it. No, we've already done Suffocation. Okay, so like, tell me what you think the difference is between Testament, Megadeth, and all the other ones, like Slayer and Metallica and stuff like that. What do you think is the difference in your opinion? When this came out, what was like the selling factor for you that was different? This is, in my opinion, is the purest example of the Bay Area thrash. Yeah, what's really interesting too is I'm noticing, at least with this music video, the beginnings of like the punk era fashion and like the punk era 90s punk, kind of like that sassiness, I guess you could say. I'm noticing little things. Obviously this is from like 87, so, and punk kind of was like pulled from those certain things, that genre. It's just really interesting to like dive back into decades before I was born. I guess not decades, but a decade before I was born, and see just the beauty of music. To be a teenager, I keep mentioning it. To be a teenager, the 80s kicked ass. Wish I could go back to those days. Yeah, and I wasn't even born. Nope. Instead I get Britney Spears and Lil Nas. So, okay, let's see what we got. At least we have Billy Ray Cyrus. Gotta have it for Billy Ray. What song did we do? Over the Wall. I think this is about Alcatraz, because I think they had footage of Alcatraz. That, it's gonna probably sound like a stupid question, but Alcatraz is not open anymore, right? I think it's a museum now, is what my mama told me. Produced by Alex Perialis. Wow, wait, why does that sound so familiar? Oh, this dude looks cool. SOD. Okay, did Testament. What other, why does this sound so familiar? What is SOD? Okay, they did Anthrax. Overkill. Okay, so mostly just did Anthrax, Testament. Oh, he did the Full Metal, the Metal Mouth thing that was featured in my Disturbing album covers. Go watch that one. That one's cool. Okay, so he did that one. Okay, so he's really just done Anthrax, Testament, and SOD. I don't know what SOD is, but I've been a prisoner, trapped in by fear, ordered for the rest of my life, condemned in a jail cell, ain't seen life in years, escape is the only way out. Restart my life or self-destruction, to climb this wall of dark construction, nice, holding the quest for freedom that beckons me. Yeah, it's about somebody breaking out of Alcatraz, I'm assuming. I like this album cover too. What is this? COTLOD? What is that? What does that mean? This isn't the song we're doing. Curse of the Legions of Death? Ew, that sounds like a fire track. What do you think about that? Oh. They released this the day after 420, I just realized. Just please. This song is about a prisoner who dreams to escape prison. Yeah? Over the wall. Over the wall I will go. The search will not stop and the hounds will not rest till I am back in my cell. For if I am caught, I will try it again. Over the wall I will go. One of the things that I love about these older older music, I guess, is just how simple, I guess you can see it now too, but just how simple some of these lyrics are and the concept of them, but the way that they like put it together instrumentally and production wise, and just the way they sing these lyrics, it just feels so much deeper and more complicated than it really is. Very cool. Okay, so Alex engineered it. Steve Souza, lyricist. Who's Steve? Oh, do they just have a... Who's Steve? This dude looks dope. Stop whining. Who is this dude? Steve Souza. Is he a member of... I'm assuming he's a member. But it doesn't say what he is. I'm so confused. I don't think that he's anything. I think they literally just have a lyricist with them. Hold on. Testament. Let's look. Steve Souza. Vocalist best known for his work in Exodus. Oh yeah, I forgot that all of these old thrash school metal bands are basically all interconnected. Of course. It wouldn't be a deep dive into these if we didn't bring in another member of a band from a different thing. The metal community, I'm assuming, was just really, really small back then. But okay, so you're from Exodus, and from 86 to 94, so he was currently in Exodus when he was writing for Testament. He rejoined Exodus for the third time in 2014. He's one of two singers, along with Chuck Billy, for the Dublin Death Patrol. Chuck Billy also is in Testament. So he was in... Oh, so he was in Testament from 83 to 86. And then he joined Exodus. But because this record's from 87 and it's their debut record, so weird how these timelines happen. So he probably wrote just a few songs. I was like, nah, I don't want to be in Testament, I want to be in Exodus. So then he dips. But then they are like, well, we got all these songs that are really dope, so let's call our friend Steve and see if we can still use him for our debut. So wild. And then you have the dude, the singer, Chuck Billy, the singer for Testament, also in Dublin Death Patrol. What do you think about Dublin Death Patrol? What do you think about that band? Do you know them? Oh, they have him labeled as death metal in Google, but interesting. All of that is like so interesting. The history is just like above my head, honestly. The next song we're going to do is called Practice What You Preach from their 1989 album, Practice What You Preach. most Metallica sounding track. Just keeping it real. Sounds very Metallica, especially with the vocals right here. Super Metallica. Loved the like panning that they did. The drums are like perfectly center right now, with the bass just being shown a good time right here. And I love that they full left panned his guitars all the way here, but kept the drums so forward. So it was just like the perfect dynamic change. And then they layered the higher melody, I think, all the way over here, but it was definitely higher in volume. So you had one lower in volume, panned here, higher volume, harmony sort of right here, and then the drums just fill in so much space here. The little things, if you're thinking about recording a record, these are the little things that help create a user experience, and it's my favorite thing. Just God. That might be one of the best solos I've heard in so freaking long. Dude, I just don't even have words. I don't have words. Like, literally, that was like a story with like 4 different chapters. There was heartache. There was a demon that was involved. There was a prince that was trying to save somebody. A castle burned down. That's what that solo entailed. And I loved that he like held out that one note until it just like lost power naturally, basically. Oh. But what really set it up is they're really good about setting up these solos. They did the same thing in this song as they did in Over the Wall. They had the chant. I love that aspect. And then they kind of bring it down. And I think just the guitars pulled out a little bit. And kind of like feels like they almost did a halftime. And then to set up for this solo to just like smack you in the face and be like the main attraction for this song. And it's so good. Delicious solo. There was a story. I felt things. There was emotion. I'm here for it. They redeemed themselves with this solo and the little bridge right before that. Loved it. those chanty vocals. I love it. I feel like that's the one differentiating factor from Metallica. That's the question I have for you. What's the difference between Testament and Metallica? Because based on Metallica's numbers and the records that they've broken and the trophies that they've won, it's obvious that we can all agree that they are considered the number one metal band, number one selling metal band in the world. Whether you agree with it or not, based on their numbers, girl, their track record, we can all agree that that's what it is. So what's the difference between their success and what they did versus Testament and what they've done? Obviously, I know Testament is obviously very popular and sold records and did those things too, but what's the difference? This is the most Metallica sounding record I've heard. Everything, I really like the chanty vocals. They were super aggressive in the end, almost to the point where the first one that hit me, like, kind of startled me. It sounded like a demon or something. I ain't gonna lie, but that's what I heard. Everything else, other than like that halftime sort of breakdown before the solo, that is the money. That was the redeeming factor of this song. You take that away though, and the song just sounds like generic Metallica. You know, vocal wise especially. So yeah, definitely one of the greatest solos. Yeah, I mean, he just like covered so much ground. That's the thing, is like, that's what gets me with guitar solos, is like, if you can tell a story with your guitar solo and just beginning, middle, end, chapters, love story, romance, good versus evil, like, if you can paint a whole picture and like, yeah, it doesn't matter if it's fast or if it's slow, like, yeah, it's definitely really good. Super strong point. Love that they like built it up to, let's see, their best song, A Beauty, guitar solos, Fire, the Big Four, Testament, 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 Testament. Yeah, I'm really interested to know like what y'all think the difference is between Testament and all of the other like Big Four, Big Eight. What was their differentiating factor compared to everybody else? I still think Slayer is like the only band so far that we've covered on this channel out of the Big Eight that really set the groundwork for death metal in the 80s. I would say Black Sabbath, but I would say that they're more of like the founding fathers of metal. You could say death metal. They started in the 70s though, so it's like you could put, you could throw Jimi Hendrix in there, you could throw Led Zeppelin in there, you know, it's just some of the people that like were experimenting with more harder rock sounds. But I still think Slayer was just doing something in every aspect that points and inspires towards straight death metal. Where Testament is still like Megadeth in that it's not death metal. I mean, they're a thrash metal band. So it's still in that sort of like lighthearted family, I guess, for how I think of it. Lighthearted meaning like it's metal obviously, but what I think for lighthearted metal is for this time period, like power metal, hair metal, thrash metal, it's all kind of like in that one pocket, you know? And I feel like, in a good way, okay, where I feel like Metallica's kind of super commercial, but I don't know, it's not death metal, thrash, but just also very commercial metal, built to sell. And then Slayer, built to sell. All of them are built to sell, but Slayer was doing something a little bit darker. Practice what you preach. I'm here to bring salt to the table. Keep in mind, I'm just here for the ride. Okay, we'll keep Taylor Swift here because of you, Spoothy, okay? Spoothy, my beautiful Discord member. You want to see her again? There she is, in all of her glory. What did you think of this album, too? Practice What You Preach. You think your life's so grand you don't believe a word you say. Your feet aren't on the ground. You let your life just slip away, just so uncertain of your body and your soul. The promises you make your mind go blank, and then you lose control. Then you lose control. What is this song about? Pay the burnt bridge toll, then you lose control. Practice what you preach. I think it's just like, if you say you're gonna do something, do it, you know? If you think that your life is so grand, you don't believe a word you say, your feet aren't on the ground, you just let life slip away. So it's like this person saying like, oh yeah, I do all of these things, but I don't actually like work towards anything, or, you know, I get what he's saying. There's an analogy in here that I can mention it, but my brain is like mush. I'm still lingering on that guitar solo, I'm not gonna lie. Recorded at Fantasy Studios. So they changed record labels. They were with Atlantic first, now they're with Megaforce. Independent record label founded in '82. So they didn't have Steve on this one, so I'm assuming Steve is like fully and entombed by now. So, yeah, Alex Perry-Ellis. What a great name. A real banger. What a main riff, this one. One of the best main riffs in metal, definitely. The guitar solo is a crazy one too. Amazing song. Yeah, I agree. Super strong. Super, super strong. Next up, we are going to take a leap 10 years from this second song to the song DNR, Do Not Resuscitate, from their 1999 record, The Gathering. So this is a time when we've had new metal is now on the scene, death is now on the scene, then death has been on the scene, and then we had Cannibal Corpse, and we also have, I think Mastodon is now because they're making an appearance around this time too, because I was getting Metallica vocals in Practice What You Preach, and I was getting a little bit of Mastodon vocals, and I'm wondering if the lead singer from Mastodon took inspiration from some of these old thrash metal bands. Let me know your thoughts on that, because that's kind of what I was getting. So I'm interested to hear what 10 years does to their sound. So, Do Not Resuscitate. Resuscitate. Oh, we got strings. All right. Mandolin? first impressions, the double bass is meaty in this recording. It's very punchy, definitely sassy, definitely a much cleaner recording because obviously we're in the late 90s. Technology for recording has advanced a lot. But I think that's one thing that I love about the old thrash metal sound and the old thrash metal like records of theirs is that kind of like loud, reverby drum sound, almost like you can hear the room which the drums and everything has been recorded in. Just that 80s amplified drum sound. And this is definitely more clean and like studio, you know, very clean studio recording. Not mad at it. Definitely punchy. Definitely more modern sounding. This double bass though is nasty. She's grabbing me. That's how you end it? I don't know how I feel about this song. I don't know. What are your thoughts about this track? Because I got a lot of different things. Is it safe to say that I feel like it's many different metal genres in this? Like, I feel like this song, in my opinion, doesn't know what it wants to be. And I really wanted them to add more of a solo. Like, especially at this end, I feel like they chopped it for commercial playability because it's that perfect pocket of 330 girl. They could have added a real meaty solo after the end of this song and like la 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 la, giving you everything that they did in the other one. Okay, here are my thoughts. Double bass, fat, meaty, so good. Vocals, still kind of like Metallica vocals. It just the tone of voice. It's just that's what I mean by like Metallica vocals is that they just sound like the lead singer of Metallica. Also kind of getting like some Pantera vibes. This is very sassy. It's very fast paced. Definitely feels different than the 80s classic thrash that they had in their first two records that we listened to. So this is definitely more fast paced. Feels a little bit more, it's not death metal. It would speed metal be? I don't think I've listened to speed metal. It just feels very fast and not, they didn't have any like groove pockets like they did. A lot of double bass, just super, super like keeping it going. Keeping it going. So it's definitely different. But then it's like kind of thrash. I just feel like it's kind of wanting to be a few different things and not really there. But But people seem to like it. Their best produced album. In fact, this is still one of the best sounding metal albums I've ever put ears to. Okay, strong. Yeah, those guitars are crunching. Low is much better. The Gathering is very much a wall of sound type of production with a huge punch that doesn't sound flat, but Low has a compact, tight, and clear sound. Yeah, this definitely is a very clean sounding record, studio-wise. Absolute masterpiece track and album. People really like this song. Heaviest and fastest song. Yeah, definitely. No, like, groovy pockets. You still, I think they had a mini chant in there. This is the Ish. Testament, most underrated thrash band. Epic banger. Cool. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about this record, The Gathering? I definitely agree that it sounds a lot cleaner, better production, better produced, but I guess I'm just somebody who really likes the like oldies, of the 80s sounding records. I love stuff like that. With the true, genuine stuff. But sometimes the remasters are really good too. You know? Let's see. So, Chuck Billy, Lies, Broken Dreams, Dismal Past, Is There More in Life I Should Have Known, Ending Wars, Ending Pain, Ending of Mankind is Insane. When there's all these possibilities, some will fail and some will achieve, even though in my youth I didn't know, but what I can do. And I may not ever see in my pain my suffering, cannot live for the rest of my life, DNR, do not resuscitate me. Wing of sadness will hold my prayers, all this madness will end my fears, contempt in life, conceptualize. Oh, I like that. Instead of doing like 2 words or 4 words, like little baby words, you just do one big one. Wrong or right, the ending of life. God save me now. I really like that bridge. Very interesting album cover too. Not unlike anything. Very interesting, different era for Testament. What do you think? I feel like this is very different. Do you like this album? I'm assuming a lot of people like this album. For me, I only listened to one track off of it. I'd be interested to listen to more. It seems like a very different era. You know, I mean, it's 99, so we're kind of like coming into a whole new, I guess, millennium? That's 100 years, right? Century? New century. There we go. So, I don't know why. If you keep seeing me do the pinched fingers, I don't know. Okay? I ordered a burger last night, and the guy asked me how I wanted it cooked, and I said medium rare. I don't know where it came from, but I just keep doing the pinched fingers. I'm sorry. I have to, like, break it out, like, erase it from my brain. Okay? So, if you see me do it, just be patient with me. Oh, man. Okay. So, I don't know what this song is about. Okay, so this is now considered death metal. I want to know... Testament, what is it called? The Gathering. What is Google put? So 99% people liked it. This is their 8th record. So this record is considered death metal and thrash metal. Yeah, because that's what I'm kind of getting with the double bass is like it's punchier than just typical thrash metal. So it definitely seems like they're kind of like exploring, you know, death metal. I was also getting a little bit of like Sepultura vibes, not the new metal version, but the older, you know, 80s, kind of like early 90s version of Sepultura. I was getting a little bit of that just because Sepultura is like, they started off thrash, but then they kind of like explored death metal, and then they went into new metal. I still love Roots. Bloody Roots. Different band. Sorry. Okay, so this is like kind of considered a death metal record then. So now they're with Spitfire. I've heard about Dave Lombardo. And people have said that he's a really, really good drummer. So he was in Misfits, huh? Oh, that's why I know him. Co-founding member of Slayer. I just don't understand. I mean, what? Are y'all all related or something? Do you spend Thanksgiving with each other every year? I mean, my lord, if you're not in Slayer, you're in Exodus or Testament or Metallica. I'm just waiting for it to be like Anthrax too. I think we've already had that. It's just amazing to me. Wow, he's only 57? I don't know why I just imagined him to be like 80. So, how old was he when this record came out then? Because that was 87? Wow, so he must have been like younger than me. So he probably was what, 20? Young 20s then. Because I'm assuming he was with the Testament during that first, okay, years active, yeah. So he was in, so he joined Testament in 99, but he was in Slayer first. Wow, he was in a lot of different things. So he was in Slayer when? I forgot 16. Yep, I forgot Slayer literally started. They were babies. Babies. Oh, my lord, these kids. They just don't make them like they used to. And I'm not even from that. I can admit it. They just don't make them like they used to. You had to work 20 times harder back in the 80s and the 90s to get your stuff heard. Because you had to be signed to a label to get anybody to frickin' notice you. Oh, that's so admirable. It just makes me want to like work on my music even harder. There's like no excuse for me now. If a 16-year-old can join a death metal band and be like big like that, oh, in the 80s when it's like so freaking hard. Sorry, I could nerd out about that stuff forever. So, oh, speaking of, if you know of a Slayer, a book on like Slayer or Testament or these like, you know, autobiographies or something about these like big 8, big 4 bands, let me know in the comments because I want to like read a little bit more like backstory stuff. I love to read music autobiographies. It's one of my favorite things. Don't ever read Keith Richards' autobiography though on the Rolling Stones. It's written so bad. It's like it's written as if you're like having a conversation with Keith Richards and somebody's just like typing the whole conversation out and that's like what you're reading. If you have dyslexia or attention deficit disorder, it's impossible to read, in my personal opinion. Rant over. Okay. 11 tracks. Okay, so DNR was one of the critically acclaimed songs, including Riding the Snake, Legions of the Dead. Okay. Oh, Chuck Billy, diagnosed with cancer. Testament would not release another studio album until 2008, so 9 years later. So, Chuck Billy. Let's look up Testament. I just want to... They're still together. Now they're on Nuclear Blast. Chuck Billy. Okay, so he's still alive. 60 years old. So, man. So he must have been a kid. I mean, how old was he? He must have been like, yeah, 20, I would say. I'm not really, this is hard to read. Sorry. Oh! Oh, Northern California. I don't know why I read that as North Carolina. Billy's first cousin is first cousins with Stephen Carpenter, co-founder and lead guitarist of Deftones. Small world. Small frickin' world. Oh. Then you get germ cell seminoma or testicular cancer. Oh, gosh. I'm sorry, bud. I'm sorry. Alright. He looks like a very cool dude. I'm into it. I like it. Let's see what... we're gonna cover Anthrax at some point. I just want to see... What is the... There's gotta be some connection between Anthrax and any of these other bands. Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer. What's the personal connection? Because they all have Thanksgiving and Christmas together. I guarantee you it. Alright, y'all, that is going to do it for my reaction today on Testament. I hope that you enjoyed. As far as my final thoughts go, I am definitely liking the sound of Testament. I feel like I'm still trying to figure out what class they go in under, like what's the difference between them and the other big four. Because I feel like it's squished super tightly in between like Metallica, Megadeth with an aesthetic of Slayer. It's like it's in right there, but I haven't really figured out a strong differentiating factor except for they had some really delicious breakdowns, at least in those first two songs. Meaty breakdowns, great chants, and the guitar solo for Practice What You Preach, fire. Fire! Loved it. So they had really good breakdowns. I think overall it seems a little like groovier than Metallica and a little bit more in the pocket, if that makes sense, than Metallica. Has the vocalist kind of sounds the same. And it's like sounds instrumentally wise more like Megadeth, but not as like technical or experimental. Megadeth was wild. They had a lot of layers. They definitely, technicality wise, had a lot of like what I see and have heard more in some of our death metal bands that we've had on this channel. So they're kind of an interesting band. You know, they're definitely very interesting. So what are your thoughts? What's the difference between Testament and all of these other big four, big eight bands? Like, what's their big differentiating factor in your opinion? My hair is bothering me. I would like to know. Let me know what your favorite songs are, your least favorite songs are, and also like what's your favorite record from them. And that's what I got. So if you again haven't subscribed to the channel, please feel free to do so. I post weekly videos documenting my metal journey. I'd love to have you be a part of the channel. We got a lot of really exciting things happening. Come join my Discord. We do a lot of listening parties and just hang out and have fun. And you can also send me something to be featured in a metal unboxing video. P.O. Box is in the description. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I really do appreciate it. And if you decide to donate to our Thrash Giving charity this month, Brother Wolf, that really means a lot to me. It really means a lot to the charity. And your donation is going directly to that charity. So I specifically picked a small local charity where any funds that do get raised go to that charity. So you don't have to worry about it going to some higher up CEO that doesn't even care about your name, okay? I ain't gonna do that to you. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you very soon. Bye, guys.
Gretchen, stop trying to